Welcome back to the VET S.O.S podcast brought to you by the Who You Know Network. Remember, don't drown the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline. I'm here as always with my partner, Mark. Mark, we got a great guest with us again today, Shane Hicks. He's going to be telling us about a great program that he's involved with, doing some amazing things for our community. I'm very excited about this. How are you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing great. As you can see, I've got my, this isn't a military star, but I'll just share with you that I know you love it, Shawn. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you guys are helping us get this information out to your network. Make sure that you're sharing it on your platforms. And Shawn will tell you a little bit more about how to do that.
See, we've had a couple shows where there's been two Marks. Now you get to feel a little bit
There
about
we go.
how I feel and what I've gone through. So
They say we all look alike. So
yeah, exactly. There you go. As Mark alluded to, we're on the Restream platform as always. If you do not know how to use Restream, please hit us up with hashtag pairing. We'll tell you how to do it. It's super easy. You can push this video out as original content on your social media and help us spread the word even more through your network. So we're here today with Shane. Shane graduated from the United States Military Academy, but early in his career, he took a blow to the head in hand-to-hand combat training that resulted in 2 torn retina, a concussion, TBI, and PTSD. After 3 surgeries, he was unexpectedly medically separated and had to fight for disability benefits using 2 VSOs and an attorney, something we've heard horror stories about for sure. He then struggled with learning how to build a business around his residual capacity, and with the formerly unemployed military spouse, they had to learn the power of professional networking. For the past 10 years, they've helped numerous startups and established businesses grow through networking, and the intent of RebootVA.org is to coach veterans in financial need through these tasks so they can build successful businesses of their own like they had to do over 20 years ago. Quite a story, quite a journey. Shane, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. It's great to be here, and it is a privilege and an honor.
It is definitely an honor for us. You and I had a conversation about this. I can't wait for us to get into the Reboot VA network piece. It's fantastic, something I think our audience is really going to enjoy. But aside from what we just read in your previous military service, what really drives you to give back to this community? Where's that giver's heart come from?
It's ingrained. I don't know. It's simply something that has come naturally. I believe that everything happens for a reason. Everything I went through, from West Point to the military career, to the injuries, to having to figure life out afterwards, it was either a lesson that God needed to teach me so that I could move forward, or it was a lesson that someone I was going to encounter in the future would not have had the strength to withstand and recover from. So by sharing my experiences, by helping them perhaps avoid those perils that I went through 23 years ago, maybe I just have the opportunity to save someone from what I went through, and then they and their families will have a much better future.
That's huge. I mean, that's something we've heard time and again too, is how important our story is. When we share our story with others, you don't know who you're impacting, who you're reaching, and who you're potentially helping. So the fact that you share your story so openly and you want to help, I applaud you for that. That's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I've just had so many mentors along the way that said one little thing to me, and it may not have even been a big deal to them at the time, just something they were throwing out there. And that one thing they said changed my entire path, changed my entire life. And if you think about, like, if we can just do that for a handful of people, the ripple effect, right? It's legacy. The people that we help today, if we treat them right, if we teach them right, they help more tomorrow. And then they help more tomorrow. What we are doing here together, all three of us today, can have such an impact for years and years to come with such simple things that honestly, at the end of the day, don't take that much from us to give to them to have such a lasting effect.
Boom.
Yeah.
Like
from your lips.
That's a knowledge bomb right there. Man, Shane. So one of the things that we have talked about, well, realized, and then started talking about in the Who You Know network, the larger career transition network that I'm part of, is we don't know, and we'll probably never know, the impact that we're making. But and that's not the purpose, right? To know that. We just have to step out in faith and do what we're called to do, or do what the mission, requires us to do. And so we just have to get out and do it, and then let, I don't know if you're a believer or whatever, but let the higher powers that be, right, take over.
Let's just say, in the big scheme of things, there is a plan, but it's very rarely ours.
Absolutely. So yeah, that is super impactful. I'm curious, right? Because just the story, and your incredible story, right? Like, you're at West Point, you graduate, you're serving, right? And we served about the same time. I was in from 94 to 99 in the Air Force, enlisted. But, and I, at one point, had thought, hey, I'm going to make a career out of this. But you were on a trajectory, right? And then it all comes.
Yeah, let's just say that my classmate is the current commandant of cadets, the stars at West Point. So yeah, I mean, I had visions of stars at some point. Yeah.
So walk us through that.
And probably the most insane is, I always fancied my battalion command. And one thing that I've noticed is that every structure in anything I've put together going forward has unintentionally been a battalion command. Colonel, staff officers, line officers, soldiers, staff call, checking up. But I will tell you what, that skill set translates so well into absolutely everything. And it makes it so crystal clear when you're working with people about how you delegate responsibility, you delegate tasks, you're accountable at a certain level. And yet the colonel, the old man, is the one that's eventually responsible for everything that does or does not happen in their organization. And that was invaluable. The other things that I learned at West Point and in my military career. So just to let you know, quick story, my very first job, right? So I graduated, I go to the basic course, and I get sent to Germany. So I was supposed to, at the time, be a postal platoon leader. So I arrive in Germany, and I go to my post office, and I am in day one indoctrination. And oh, by the way, it was me and my brand new military spouse who had never been away from home before, right? Jerk her up away from mama, never been away from mama, drop her in Germany where she doesn't know anybody. Oh my gosh, we're talking stress, right? So I'm sitting in my post office one day in country, and I get a call up, and it's the old man, and he's like, Lieutenant Hicks, I need you to report to battalion headquarters tomorrow morning. Okay, I'm getting called to the colonel's office on day one. Ugh. I had not yet had time to screw up. I'm just a second lieutenant. So I drive to battalion headquarters. I go into the colonel's office to report. He goes, Lieutenant Hicks, you know that we're deploying to Bosnia tomorrow, right? Yes, sir. Do you think I have a position for you down there? I don't know, sir. Do you? No, I got that covered. What I don't have covered is this. So you're going to show up tomorrow, rear detachment, battalion commander. My first job as a second lieutenant for the first 12 months of my career. Now, the cool part, I was suspensing majors. I would drive to PERSCOM, and I sat at the right hand of the bird. And he mentored me on how to be a light colonel as a second lieutenant. And that was my first 12 months in the military. Wow. You talk about learning quick, right? But when the old man came back from Bosnia, my first OER said, the most outstanding lieutenant I have worked with in over 23 years.
Wow.
That's awesome. And love the fact they took care of you too.
All of that made me who I am. And what I would say from that, and then this is not meant to be braggadocious or anything, but very little sweats me. I have been in the fire. I have had, even at West Point, right? They get in your face and they yell and yell and yell and yell and yell, right? And I just developed that 1,000-mile stare. It doesn't matter. Say what you want. At the end of the day, it is what it is. We're going to get our job done. We're going to do what we have to do. And everything else is noise.
Yeah.
And then I developed great time management stuff, especially when I was working for my favorite, my first colonel, the old man, right? And so I had a table. This was before digital. I had a table with stacks. And I would have folders with all the projects. And it'd be like, okay, the old man cares about this. He cares about this. He kind of cares about this. He couldn't give a rip about this. And I would go through and I would touch everything every day. And then I would prioritize the stuff he cared about. I would meh the stuff he was meh about. And I would, box the stuff that he didn't, because who cares? He didn't care, right? And this is also where I developed my taking care of others skills. So in military terminology, I'm old school supply, right? If there's an inspection coming, I'm calling my boys and I'm like, hey, we're short some radios over here. You got radios? Sweet, hook us up. And they would do that, right? So I'm sitting at battalion headquarters now. I know where the sergeant major's going. I know where the XO's going. I know where the battalion commander's going. And I had everybody's phone number. So as soon as command would step out the door and start driving someplace, I'd pick up the phone and I'd be like, hey, Motocool, boss is about to be there. Clean your stuff up. Or I'd call the other second lieutenants that had their various commands and I'd be like, I'm not sure where you're at today, but you might want to swing by your detachment and you might want to be there at about, 2 o'clock. And you might want to make sure that you're looking good and your people are looking good and that all the paperwork is where it's supposed to be, because you might be seeing somebody just there.
So all that has really kind of molded, right, and formed who you are. We are, right, the sum of our experience. How does that translate into Reboot VA in your experience, with the injury and then transitioning and, your unemployed wife at that time, right, that you had talked about?
So I think the best way to describe that is to actually let you know what Reboot VA does, right? So at its heart, I provide a comprehensive business coaching plan that can take any business, not just veterans, but any business that wants to grow through relationship marketing and through networking. I can take their hand. So, okay, my bottom line was when I got out, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, right? So I had to find a business that I could run myself within my residual capacity, because some serious stuff comes with PTSD. There's mood swings, there's memory loss, right? We all know it, and I'm not ashamed of it. I am one of my disabled veterans. It's why I do what I do, right? I mean, and it doesn't get better with age. It gets worse, right? So I had to figure all that stuff out, and I realized I was going to fail if I didn't have a support system. Just like I did in the military, right? Anytime I needed somebody, I'd call supply. Like one time, I even helped this second lieutenant lost 20 radios that he had signed for. Okay, we all know, yeah, that ain't good. That is not good. And that poor little butterbar, he didn't know anything. He was about to do change of command. He was going to get a no pay due for the rest of his freaking life. Well, I, as the senior, blah, 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 whatever I was at the time, right? And I'm not much more than him, but I was also a detachment battalion commander. So I jumped in my car. I drove down to the supply store place, right? Depot. And I took that butter bar with me, and I drug him in to that supply. And I went to the supply guy and I said, hey, by the way, did you happen to find 20 radios of this type in the area? And the supply guy goes, you know, sir, I do think we came across 20 of those radios. And I said, thank you so much, Sergeant. I'm pretty certain this young lieutenant here lost those radios. Can you please take care of him? Yes, sir. Hey, and my buddy found all those radios. So, taking care of people, having a trusted set of resources that back and support you, right? I had to do that myself. Now, I put a team together and have those resources available, right? So real quick, any business going through our coaching program has a coach that I assign to them. Now, they are certified and trained by me in our system, okay? Then we have 10 intentional handoffs. So you're the business, we assign you to your coach. Your coach says, okay, your first stop is to check in with our online marketing mentor. The online marketing mentor covers topics. We have 7 topics that they go over, evaluate, and make recommendations. Then you go back to your coach and you check in. Done. Then you go to marketing services offline, promotional products, shirts, greeting cards, stuff like that, right? Direct mail. Then you go back to your coach. Check. Now, our coaching system is comprehensive. I teach you this. You have self, you have others, and you have your business. Now, let's be honest. If you don't have the health, if you don't have the energy in yourself to pour into others, you will fail. So my next mentor is health and wellness. And we have things that we talk about. What are you doing here? What issues are you facing? How can we help? Now my health and wellness, you go back to your coach, check. Next stop, real estate. Because if you aren't comfortable in your home, if you don't know that you can support yourself, if you don't know that you can take care of your family, and if you read my story, I had a $200,000 mortgage when I was being put out on the street. I was stressed. Let's take that stress away. Now we have a real estate mentor that talks to you. Back to your coach. Hey, we know now that you've got a house, the American dream is sometimes an American nightmare. Plumbing leaks, roofing leaks, electric doesn't work. We have a trades mentor that has a contact list of every single one of our trusted trades within this team. You need plumbing? Got it. You need electric? Got it. You need floor? You need anything, trade service? You need annual maintenance? Got it. Here's your number. Call them anytime you need. Now we got you squared. Back to your coach. The next mentors of mine that you go through. Finance. So now we hook you up with personal and business finance, especially continuity plans. Then we go to accounting and taxes, because whether we like it or not, it's that time of year and they're going to smack us one way or the other. Hey, what if we have somebody that knows what we're doing that can help us smack them back, or at least dodge and, block? That's the accounting team. Then we pass to our insurance mentor, personal insurance, business insurance. Then we pass on to our business services team, legal. Make sure your formation is right. Make sure you're protected. And then, depending upon what their business is, we hook them up with, merchant services or anything a business might need to be successful. IT, dial-tone bandwidth, anything. I have entire rosters, right? So now any business that has gone through our program is trained on how to use every single one of our assets. When they graduate, they now have a roster with names and phone numbers of all those folks that they have personal relationships with, personal phone numbers with. I can literally pick up the phone. So in Texas, we have the snowpocalypse a year or so ago, right?
I'm up in Dallas. Yeah. Yep, I'm up in Dallas.
Right? Okay, so I'm a military transplant to Texas. So I was from Missouri. Things freeze. Then I was in New York. Things really freeze. Then I was in Germany. There were days we were buried in 6 feet of snow, right? I get it. I get how to insulate stuff, right? I mean, heck, even if it's a Whataburger cup over the faucet on the outside, you feel me, brother? Right? You got to do what you got to do. But I had already gone around the house and northernized everything. I mean, we had pipes wrapped and stuff like that. Me and the wife are sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden my wife goes, are we supposed to have steam coming up in the back? And I'm like, no. So we go out, and the copper from the faucet on the outside had broken. It blew my insulated cover off halfway across the yard. Now we got water spewing out. So I had to run and find where our water shut off was and turn that off. And then, now again, you remember, snowpocalypse. Every single plumber was now booked 6 months. 6 months. You couldn't get help, and everybody was running every place else. Okay. I picked up the phone. I called Caesar. It's my plumber. I said, brother, I'm broke. And he goes, no problem, boss. I'll have one of my boys there in a few hours. I was welded. I was working. I was back because of what we put together. And every business that's gone through my program and has one of these teams has a Cesar Rodriguez to pick up the phone and call, and they'll drop everything to take care of one of our people.
That's always great to have that security blanket.
That is the power of what we do. And so what the nonprofit does is a veteran in financial need that needs to build a business. Our nonprofit covers 100% of their tuition and their support in our program. And when they graduate, they have a hot call list of everyone they will ever need to take care of them for the rest of their lives.
Is it business agnostic? Okay.
So any veteran, is it veteran and spouses, or just any veteran can use the 501?
So my Yeah, so I understand the question, right? So my base program is for absolutely anyone, right? And here's how it's set up, right? So I had been involved with a direct marketing company, and they're the ones that provide this backbone for me. They're the one that provide the CRM, the contact list, the ability for us to send physical greeting cards and do all of the marketing stuff. And they have provided the bones of the coaching system that we're allowed to put online, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I have limitless capacity. Where at one point I was nervous. Man, if I'm doing all this myself, how many veterans can I support? Right. Well, now I've got the backbone by leveraging this company and their back end and their servers and their office. I can handle unlimited people. Okay. And because it's a direct marketing, and this is the part that is so cool. And I'll tell you guys what my goal is, and we can get to it whenever in this interview. But for every 5 businesses that pay their own way, it generates enough for a veteran in financial need to go for free. And we don't have to ask for donations. We don't have to beg for funds all the time, because if you've done nonprofit stuff, you constantly feel like you got your hand out and constantly going back to the same well, and it's tough. And sustainability is even tougher. But what if you develop your nonprofit where it's self-sustaining? So now when businesses go through our program, for every 5, a veteran is fully funded. And then to answer your question, I support veterans and their families. So I've got several instances. Like right now, I'm helping a spouse who's a tax preparer, whose husband can't work because he's he was ops, and then he worked for no such agency, and he has some extreme issues. So we're helping her in her tax business. I have another one that's a graphic designer, and her husband has similar trauma and can't work. And so we're helping her. I helped another spouse start an Aflac business. Man, her husband it got to the point where he couldn't even get out of bed. He had so much stuff going on, literally could not get out of bed. So she needed a business where she could work it from home, do it online, and still be his caregiver. So there's tons. I mean, I've actually been helping like this for years. I just hadn't formalized it and didn't have the entire system in place. And I am so stoked, because I don't know if you guys can tell, I get a little excited about what I do, but it's taken me 2 years to officially develop the entire system, right? Because of this. And I'll just go ahead and share. I have 2 goals. I will announce to you and the world today. My retirement date is 1 January 2028. Within 5 years, I will make myself obsolete. I will have trained and coached a set of coaches that can train and coach my system, that can reproduce what I walked you guys through today over and over and over again, so we can help as many veterans as there are veterans. I will make this a self-funding, self-sustaining program that, when properly managed by others, will never have to beg for money. We'll never have to get, it's just, right? So that is what I'm doing, and it's working. We have 5 active veterans. One, oh my gosh, this story, Navy guy, and I have a soft heart for Navy. We got to take care of them. I mean, they're Navy guys. Yeah, go Army, beat Navy. Anyway, so he's in New Hampshire. He gets a job offer in San Antonio to be a karate instructor. His wife is a registered nurse. She gets an offer in Med Center for a huge bonus and a tremendous pay raise. So he quits the Navy, gets out. They pack up 2 U-Hauls. They drive to San Antonio. Within 1 month, he shows up to work. There's a lock on the door. The owner says, I'm sorry, we just weren't profitable anymore. You can keep the 5 students I introduced you to since you've been here, but there's no job for you anymore. Oh, by the way, his wife shows up to work, no bonus check, and half the pay they promised. Now he doesn't know what to do. Well, he ran into somebody that knew me. So he comes to me, and he and I sit and talk. And I said, let's figure out what you want to be. And we came up with the idea, what about a mobile karate instructor? You know what? I'll come to your house. I'll train your entire family for one fixed fee. So instead of going to karate studio and paying $100, $200 a month per person, one fee. I'll come take care of all of you. Hey, let's say you're an office and you want offices done. He can come to your office, train your entire office for one flat fee, right? He also, we're getting him into senior living. He's got some exercises that he teaches seniors, right? And then the one that I really like, one of my construction guys, and we know construction guys stereotypically, right? One of my construction guys, him and his subcontractors, they like to fight. Well, why don't I introduce my karate instructor to them? If they're gonna beat on each other anyway, why don't we teach them to beat on each other safely so that they're available for the networking meeting next week? I can't have my people injured, right? So now we have a karate instructor that's going to take care of them. He's being comped all the way through our program, right? Then I have another that went through a recent divorce. He was making really, really good money with a company, but he had done it with his ex-wife, and we kind of know how that sometimes goes. Well, let's just say he doesn't have that company anymore, but he owes support to the ex in the amount that he used to make. Oh, he remarried and now has 5 kids to support too. So you talk about a veteran in financial need. Oh my gosh, right? So he came to us. We're helping him through our program to develop. He wants to be a realtor. So we're developing as a realtor. I have another one that used to run an IT support company. However, her issues have come up lately where she can no longer be customer facing.
Shane, you're doing amazing things, Shane. This is a huge network.
Yeah.
What amazes me though is we've already reached the end.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The information's phenomenal. I can't believe we're already at the end. And the whole time you're telling us about the story, I started thinking about, well, we're going to make the podcast a business. So maybe I need to talk to you offline about your program, because that could help me, build this even better. Could be a great thing to move forward. But we do need to close, and I'm going to give you a minute here to share any words of wisdom you have. Anything you want to leave the audience with?
So there are no true words of wisdom. I don't profess to be wise. I simply say this: if you spend your entire life taking care of others, making sure they're good, you know what? Your life and yourself takes care of itself.
Wow. Yes.
Boom. Yeah.
We're having
something up
great
right there.
quotes today, aren't we, Mark?
Yep.
So, Mark, you got any parting words?
No, I think, what you're doing is great, Shane, and especially at the level that you're doing it. Just the amount or sequence of resources that you have is phenomenal. As a matter of fact, here, let me just go ahead and do this right now and scan your QR code here. So, I thank you for sharing. I mean, not only is your journey to where you're at just incredible, in the things that you've gone through to get here, but then taking that and not just, dwelling on it, letting it incapacitate you, but actually using that to fuel you.
I posted a meme on my Facebook today that says, when life shuts a door in your face, reach the wall and enter like a boss. and as if that's your life philosophy, nothing will stop you.
Yeah, I love it.
And real quick to share, there are 3 things we need. Number 1, we need businesses that want to pay their way through our coaching program. 2, I don't play shallow, I play deep. So I'm always recruiting for those that want to be mentors in our program. They must have been coached through the program before they're a mentor in that area, but I need mentors. And then the third thing I need is those that want to sponsor a veteran directly through our program. And it all starts at RebootVA.net. It explains everything, who I am, the nonprofit part, and how we help businesses as well.
Boom. Outstanding. You heard it all right there. He needs some assistance. You can scan the barcode, not the barcode, the QR code. Check out the website. You got a great thing going on, Shane, and very, very interested to learn more about it. I'll be checking out the website for sure. I encourage everybody to do the same, especially if you're looking to get into starting a business. There are always needs out there that we can fill, especially as veterans. I want to thank everybody for tuning in as always. And remember, don't drown in the sea of transition, but grab the VET S.O.S. Lifeline.